So yesterday Google had its Google I/O developer conference after a one-year break, and I wasn't really sure what to expect from it other than some of the rumors that we've seen online, but I decided to watch it, and I have to admit that I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to some of the tech that they will be bringing to all of us in the near future. So for now, I would just like to talk about some of the things that I really enjoyed, or kind of give you a rundown of what has happened. Starting with Android 12, which is going to now be more colorful, brighter, and hopefully a bit more modern and intuitive. Of course, Google is also going to take care of some of the bugs that maybe some of you have already reported to them, but the focus is on you, and more specifically, this is the material you design that they have unveiled, and I have to admit that as a whole, it clearly stands out, but there are very minute design changes that I really enjoyed during this keynote. One such example would be how the screens turn on from where the lock button is pressed from, or if you want to do it and get it from below the screen, well, you're going to have to use your fingerprint scanner and it's going to look really amazing. Now, another thing is that the time on your phone or your general system icons are also going to be changing colors depending on your wallpaper or your color scheme. And it will also now show you which sensors are being triggered by the apps that you're using. So for example, if you're using the camera app, it would use your camera and your mic, and you'd be able to see those icons on the top right side of the screen. And these are definitely good changes, and trust me, there's more to unpack than design and privacy. However, these have been the main focus things for Google and for its Android 12 update, or as some people would like to call it, Canoopsy OS, because it kind of looks similar to what he might be doing with some of his wallpapers. And if you don't know who that guy is, well, just check out the links in the video description. Google is also making changes to how we'll be using Google Docs as an example, and you will soon be able to start a call directly from the Google Docs file or the Google Sheets, whatever you're using to work on those things with your team. And it's going to be launching Google Meet, like I said, and from there you'll be able to have live subtitles as well as your colleagues that you're working with and see their faces at the same time as you're working, which is really neat because the smart canvas feature, as they are calling it, is going to be bringing a lot of improvements to how we are working as a team. So yeah, really looking forward to it. They also had some next level AI stuff going on, which was borderline creepy and awfully scripted at the same time, but in essence, we've heard what Pluto and a paper airplane might feel and talk like. And if you haven't watched this, well, you probably should, because you might learn a thing or two, or at the very best, or very worst, I guess, depending on how you look at things, you're going to cringe or have a laugh. Google's new Lambda conversation technology is also only being trained on text at the moment, but the company says that they will be incorporating other forms of communication into it because, well, believe it or not, we as human beings use multiple stimuli to communicate with each other and to get some of these thoughts rolling, right? How will this affect privacy, AI-generated content, or deepfakery? I honestly don't know, but I assume that we're going to live and learn. Now, speaking of deepfakery, they have also showed how Google Photos will be able to make animated photos from still shots using their cinematic moments technology, which they have kindly showed right over there using a demo using a picture of kids in general, but the one that caught everyone by surprise, I guess, was one where they used two kids and one of them being an actual baby, and they made both of them smile, and that's really an accomplishment for many parents, especially those who thrive on dad jokes, which, you know, they might never be able to make both of their kids smile or laugh with the same joke, just like I might have not made you laugh at this joke. Either way, it might become a total privacy nightmare and also really difficult to tell what's true, what's not. You know, that's how deepfake works. TM. But the technology is definitely insane. And speaking of parents, they also presented Mum, because it wouldn't be Google if they didn't have some quirky names and a figure which is 1,000 times better than Bert, which, by the way, should make it so darn good that it will will now be able to understand and deliver information way better. So an example of that would be, I have hiked to Mount Adams now, and I would really like to do Mount Fuji next fall. What should I do differently to prepare? Another one might be, show me a path to a certain destination. So let's say I want to go to a new city, but it has to have some cool mountain ranges on the way, which, you know, some people might prefer instead of taking the highway and only seeing other cars passing by and no fun, enjoyable scenery, right? This probably happened to you as it probably happened to me before. Or you could ask Google's AI to show you the moment in a YouTube video where the lion roars. And that one is kind of cool, and I'm excited for it because soon I'll be able to just ask Google or whatever virtual assistant is going to be able to do this to show me where Linus has dropped some PC components inside of a YouTube video. And yes, that is obviously another joke that I made on Twitter, which is where I post mostly shit posts. But yeah, moving on to some other things that they've showed us. That was Google Lens, which will now also be smarter, similar to how Mom will be smarter, and they will be able to tell you what kind of furniture you're looking at, where you can buy it from, or if these shoes would be good for hiking. Google Maps is also getting some really neat improvements as well, as it will now show you additional information such as crosswalks, which I never truly realized that they weren't within the app, but I guess now I know, and bravo Google for doing this. You'll also be able to navigate inside of airports or any indoor areas using AR, just like you might have seen it already on some streets, where you can just take your phone and take a photo of where you're situated and what you're looking at, and then Google will tell you which direction you should be headed towards. And I have personally tried this and it works. It's really nice, but this was already, like, I think more than 6 months ago, so I don't really know what exactly they are adding extra, but there is most likely going to be a lot more going into it. Now, where it might be getting a little bit sketchier in terms of privacy is when you will show where you will only be shown certain things on the map, like restaurants or bars, depending on the time of the day, and if I'm not mistaken, depending on what you're interested in as well, but don't quote me on that just yet. Same thing might be said about showing you how busy an area might be using all of that juicy data of over 3 billion devices that they have active right now, which will work similarly to how busyness on bus, trains, and metros looks like already, and I'm pretty sure that you have tested this if you live somewhere in Europe or the States or somewhere where this is applicable, because I'm sure that they're not doing this all over the world. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about and if you have already tried it. For me personally, I have tried it in the Netherlands, in Germany, and in some other places where I traveled, and it works really nicely. But with regards to privacy, they will also allow you to change a site's passwords right from inside the password manager, and it will also prompt you to use two-factor authentication and a secure password. And if you're not already doing it, then please do it. It's really good to secure all of your accounts, so do it. Google will also support digital car keys, but that's not something all of us will be able to use, I guess, so let's just move on. They will also be adding a health tool, which is, again, as you expected, cool, but not the most privacy focused thing. In short, you'll be able to take photos of a mole of on your skin, and you can get a diagnosis. Whether this will be as accurate as WebMD and a self-diagnostic, I'm not really sure, but I'm sure that I will not be trying it out, especially not in its current form, because of 3 main reasons. Privacy, not a medical device, and I don't really want the anxiety associated to it. Project Starline, on the other hand, and Google's new camera software will both be bringing some really cool big features. I'm not sure if Google will make something out of Project Starline or just kill it, as they've done with many other projects. You can check out a website in the description to see how many projects Google has killed, but essentially it's a real-time 3D rendering software which makes you feel like you're having a real face-to-face meeting. In the demo they showed, you could argue that they looked like they were trapped, or like you're seeing in movies, like people being a reinforced window in a jail. And yeah, I know that's awfully descriptive, but it has a lot of potential, and I really want to try it out if I am ever going to be able to get my hands on such a thing. And as for the camera software bit that I was alluding to, this is something that as a white person I didn't really think much about before, you know, Google has told us more about it essentially. Just to give you the gist of it, Google will now be training and giving access to this particular software to all Android makers, which will greatly improve photos of people with darker skin tones, and it will make everything look more faithful to real life. So congrats on that bit, Google. Apple, it's now your turn. And there have been a lot of other cool demos at Google's I/O conference, including bad jokes, and some of them came from yours truly over here on Twitter, because that's the place where you can shitpost at the best. But if you would like to learn more about what has happened over there, or want to see what they're doing in these other days, or see what else is going to pop up from Google and privacy and all of that juicy stuff, then I recommend you're going to check out the links in the video description, or join us on our crowd Discord server, because we quite regularly host these kinds of events over there, and we talk about our thoughts and see what other people think, and then also review the products in case they come to market. So definitely do all of those things, and if you would like to watch some other videos, there are going to be 2 recommendations over here. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.